Good morning, one and all. This is Dr. Diana here. Welcome to this session on data mining. So we have been looking into data mining for past three sessions, and we have understood what data is and what data mining is, and then we moved on into representation of real world objects using feature value pairs. And from data, we have summarized into information using statistics, and then we used uh, to bring out certain conclusions which can be called as knowledge. So we understood how data evolves into information and then into knowledge. And we have seen that data mining is a process that helps in bringing out that knowledge in huge sources of data. And we have also looked into the formal definition of data mining, which is extraction of interesting, non trivial, implicit, previously unknown, and potential information, potential pattern or knowledge from huge sources of data. Now, once we have understood that data mining is bringing out knowledge, we also noted that data mining is a misnomer or it is wrongly named because it is not the data which is actually mined out. Just like diamond mines and coal mines, we don't mine sand out. We only mine the diamond from the heaps of sand. The same way, we are supposed to call it as knowledge mining, or it's also called as knowledge discovery in databases. So, data mining is a misnomer. And then we looked into the knowledge discovery process. And I've also mentioned that in Unit 1, the most probable big questions are only knowledge discovery process, the types of patterns that can be mined, and one other question. So we have seen two of them already. This knowledge discovery process is the integration of data from multiple sources and then cleaning that data and then designing a data warehouse for specific storage of data, followed by selection of certain specific task related information for the further data mining process. Then you conduct the data mining process, and then whatever results you get, all the patterns that you get, you can actually evaluate those patterns based on their interestingness, and then you put it inside the knowledge base of the organization. The same process can be repeated multiple number of times with different sets of data and with different selected data on different perspectives of the organization, which will eventually give you a broader idea on the organization's benefits. So this will also help us take effective business decisions. So our goal in data mining is only to help in the business decision making process using the heaps and heaps of data that's available with the organization. So we have seen the role of a database administrator in this, and then a data analyst is the one who actually does the data mining process. But the even more important role is taken by a business analyst who presents the data strategically for decision making. Now, once the decision making is done, we also know that it can be accommodated into the knowledge base of the organization. So for every data mining task, we are going to have a pre-processing set of tasks and a post-processing set of tasks. So data mining forms the core of things, but still there are a lot of other activities around data mining. And we have seen that the some of the data on which data mining can be applied or relational databases, data warehouses, transactional databases, data streams or video data, and then we have also seen time series data and sequence data. And we also formed structural data like graphs which are used in social networking, and then we have seen the basic object relational data models, and we have also seen that data mining should be able to work on heterogeneous databases and legacy databases, and also on spatial and geoinformatic databases. Apart from this, There's not much of data mining algorithms that are available for multimedia and text databases, but they are on the rise. We have seen six different patterns that can be mined out of uh, data. Six or seven basic approaches in data mining. The first one is a generalization, where you summarize things, and the technology used behind is the data cube, or the online analytical processing engine. OLAP engine is what they call it as. Now, generalization is more like summarization. The second aspect, or the second form of data mining, is association rule mining, and it is also called as correlation analysis. It tries to bring out information or relationship between different attributes of the data. Like, for example, people who buy one item are more likely to buy another item. All these are done using association rule mining. We'll be covering more of the algorithms about this on unit 2. And then we moved on into classification, which is more like a predictive problem. And we have seen how classification can be used to predict certain diseases, stock markets. All of these can be done using classification. And then we moved on into cluster analysis, which is one form of data mining, where we do not have a predictive label upon which we work on, but however, we can group the data together into different groups which have certain similar behavioral characteristics. So, based on understanding of that object, it helps us deliver certain content more effectively. And then we moved on into outlier analysis, which is identification of rare set of events that occur. Fraud detection is one application of data mining using outlier analysis. And another one is the time series ordering, or time series analysis. The most common example for time series analysis is the weather forecasting data. So, when you have data about the past 10 years and the weather reports, it's easier to assess what would happen next. And it's also used in flood warning systems and all of that. And this plays also a very major role in stock market analysis. With this, we have seen a basic introduction to what data mining is and all the different functions that data mining does. Now we are going to see how to evaluate the knowledge that we mine. So, when I say knowledge, I can think about it like this. Data mining is actually a set of algorithms. The result or the output of these algorithms are going to be delivered in the form of patterns. So, knowledge is going to be represented in a form of patterns. So, when patterns are available, we have to understand, do all of these patterns have some useful implication in the decision making process? So that's where we ask the question, are all mined knowledge interesting enough? Now, we have already seen the four perspectives or the metrics that measure the interestingness of a pattern. The first one is that it should be non-trivial. The second one, it should be implicit. The third one, that it should be previously unknown. And the fourth one, it should be potentially useful. So, we can mine tremendous amount of pattern and knowledge. Some may fit into only certain periods of time. Some may be applicable only to certain locations. Some may be a representative of the past. Some may have happened but might not happen again. So these are patterns that actually evolve. Now, once I get these patterns, are they interesting enough? So the interestingness should cover these aspects. One of them is it should either be descriptive or predictive in nature. Descriptive in the sense it should be able to help me understand my objects. Or, say for example, I have different data sets. Imagine I have different data sets about mobile users and their plans. And or I can even say I have a set of people who have applied for loan. Then in that case, if I give that data and then try to perform some descriptive analysis on that, it would try to group that data into different groups which are of the same type. In what way will it help me understand? Now imagine there are a set of people who are working in the IT and they have all applied for a housing loan, and their housing loans they are able to pay off better. That is one group. So every time somebody with a similar grouping comes up with a loan application, I would blindly approve their loan, because the previous history shows that people who are from that group have been able to pay off their loans properly on time. So, and I can also find another group where people are above 65 and they have applied for a home loan, and one or two of them expired during their loan period itself. Some of them are not able to pay their loan because of ill health, all these things. So when an application about that particular group comes to me, I may not approve that loan once again. So a descriptive is more like grouping of elements, and when I group the elements according to some similarity, I'll be able to deliver my business more effectively. That's the objective of descriptive data mining. Predictive, we always know that it will help me predict what will happen in the future, like weather forecasting and stock market analysis. So these two are two different types of data mining methods. And then we moved on into coverage. Coverage means if I find a pattern, does it cover the entire past data? To acquire that knowledge, should I be able to cover the entire past data? That defines the coverage of the pattern. The more the coverage of the pattern is, the more interesting it will be. Now, if I can understand certain pattern with only 2 months of data, my pattern may not be adequate enough. It may not be applicable after 2 months from now. But if I have generated a pattern from past 10 years of data, which has better coverage, then naturally for another 10 years that information should hold good. So that's about the coverage of the pattern that is mined. The more the coverage of the pattern is, the better the pattern would be. And then you have typicality and novelty. Now, the pattern that is mined should be novel. Novel means it should be previously unknown. Like for example, when I said about association rules, I told you that people who bought diapers bought beer. It was not previously known to anybody in the store, but data analysis revealed that people who bought diaper have bought beer, and it is not a very typical behavior also. Not It is not very noticeably obvious. So such should be the pattern that is mined. So any pattern that is mined should be novel, and it should not be a typical behavior of the objects that you are looking at. So when you have a pattern that is out of the blue, out of the ordinary, only then that pattern would be interesting. And then we should also remember to look into the accuracy of the pattern. What is the accuracy? How true is the pattern on the entire set of data? Now, when take the same diaper and beer example, people who bought diapers bought beer is the conclusion that they derived from analysis of data. Now, how much people did the same thing? If only 3 people did that, can I even call it as a pattern? No, I can't. So there should be lot of people who repeatedly do the same act. So the pattern that I mine should be accurate for most of the objects in hand. That's how we define the accuracy of a pattern. The more the accuracy, the more the pattern will reoccur once again. So it's predicting more accurately than a pattern that does not have better accuracy. And then about timeliness. Now imagine we are having some COVID data, and we are trying to analyze, and then the application says in your area the COVID will people there will be a lot of spread during June second week is my prediction, is what my algorithm says. But unfortunately, the spread of disease started rapidly increasing, and it ate up the entire community in May. If that is the case, how good is my prediction? My prediction did not tell me that I to be prepared for what was coming. So when I missed on the timeliness of the pattern, it may not be effective. So the pattern that I may mind is not good enough for the goal that I am trying to reach. So it's not helping me with the decision making process. So any knowledge that is mined should have a timeliness. It should fit into the time zone of reality. So based on these parameters, we evaluate the interestingness of the patterns, and then you submit it to a knowledge base. Once you form a knowledge base, it can be repeatedly used by the organization to take decisions. Now, what are the technology that are involved in data mining? Data mining, you can see, it's a confluence of multiple disciplines. It means it is a integration of multiple set of algorithms and disciplines. The first one, of course, is machine learning, because we are trying to teach the machine to learn some knowledge about the organization from heaps of data. The second one is pattern recognition. We are looking at pattern recognition because we are also thinking that we are finding some patterns or knowledge in the form of patterns, and we are saying that these patterns have high degree of recurrence, or they are highly likely to reappear in the future, which is why we include pattern recognition in data mining. And then when I say pattern mining, it also includes statistics. I should be statistically proficient, only then I can understand the conversion of data into information and information into knowledge. And then we move on into visualization. Visualization has drastically affected the way data mining is applied. The visualization is the method or the tool that people use for strategic decision making. So, visualization has become a core essential part of business intelligence these days. And because we use huge sources of data, we definitely need high performance computing, because most of these data mining algorithms are not executable on the normal desktop PCs. If you look at real world data sources, you might have to move into mainframe servers that can help you run these data mining algorithms. And the underlying technology, of course, is database technology. And then you have a group of algorithms and applications that require the use of data mining. We'll be looking more detail into the algorithms and the applications in the next few units. Now, we need not discuss on why we actually have to involve so many disciplines. It's quite obvious. So, I'm not describing on these. You might have to just read through that once. Now, the next is what are the kinds of applications that we try to target? Now, when I look into the different types of applications, it is vast, because every application now has a lot of data running behind, and every organization requires business intelligence, and it is through the data mining methods that we are able to generate business intelligence for those organizations. So the applications that involve data mining are tremendous, and it's almost become ubiquitous these days. I've mentioned some of the basic applications of data mining here. The first one is a web page analysis. Now, all the search engine optimization methods that we use are using data mining. Search engine optimization is what Google uses. Google is trying to find the best possible results for your search using data mining. It is using techniques like web page classification and clustering of web documents, and it is using something called as page ranks and hits to identify which are the best suited results for your search. And we also know collaborative analysis and recommender systems. Now, Amazon is able to tell you what are the other related products they have with your web portal. That is called as the recommender system. The recommender system bases itself using data mining. And we also have basket data analysis or market basket analysis to identify targeted customers. Now, once if I start searching for a loan in some organization, I become a target customer. That means I receive 10 calls a day based on my one call asking me to take up some home loan or the other. And this is really working too heavy, and data mining has been running as the background for the targeted marketing strategy. And then we go into biological data analysis, where we are trying to predict or classify or diagnose a disease without the intervention of human doctors. Using just data mining algorithms, can we even identify a disease? Can we diagnose a disease? Can we recommend probable medication? All of these are done using data mining. And data mining and software engineering have been together for quite a long time. So, software engineering, how can we use data mining? And most of the query languages, servers on relational databases nowadays support data mining tasks. Now, when I say that there are a lot of probable uses of this data mining, what are the major challenges? What makes data mining difficult? That's what we're going to see in the next session. So, till now, we have completed on what is data, what is information, and what is knowledge, and how can we use statistics for improvement of data into information, and how can we use data mining to convert information into knowledge. And then we looked into the knowledge discovery in databases, or the KDD, as a process. And then we looked into what are the different types of data mining functions available. We've seen 6 different types of data mining functions. The first one is generalization, the second one is association rule mining, the third one is classification, the fourth one is clustering, the fifth one is outlier analysis, and the sixth one being time series or sequence analysis. Now, after these forms of data mining, we have understood how machine learning is also included in data mining, and what are the different disciplines that are combined inside data mining. And we have also seen some basic examples of where data mining has been used. The next session, we will be looking into what are the major challenges in data mining. So, with this, I would like to stop this session, and thank you one and all once again. I'm hoping that all of you are doing well. Stay home, stay safe. God bless you all. Thank you.